Hey everybody, today is Saturday, March 5th, and we are excited to present Brooke's litter of pups to you. She surprised us and went into labor on February 28th. So these pups are actually 5 days old, and we were expecting them to be born about this time, but as you can see, there were some healthy pups inside of her, and they decided otherwise. So they came a little bit earlier than we had anticipated, and we're just excited to share the news about them with you. We have 7 pups. We have 4 boys and 3 girls, and from what I can see on my display, this pup's collar and that one looks similar. This is boy, he is orange, and this is girl, yellow. And these 2 pups' collars look similar, but they are different. I will zoom in and see if I can get the color contrast on this camera to decide to pick up that difference. This is teal and this is blue. So this is girl, teal, and boy, blue. So I apologize in some of these videos if these collar colors look similar, because on my side of the camera, looking at the display, they look very close. Maybe a little bit tricky to discern those, but anyways, the delivery went great. 9 out of 10 times dog deliveries happen in the middle of the night, and Brooke decided to give us a little bit of break from the normal routine, and we were delivering pups about 8 o'clock in the morning and continued on through the morning and through most of the afternoon. So that was a welcome change of pace for us to do a daytime delivery, and that was just very nice. So these pups are old enough that I believe it was Wednesday they were into the vet and got their tails and dew claws done. So you can see the dew claw scab is there, and they have a little tail scab there, and their belly buttons are dry enough. The umbilical cords have all dried off and fallen off. So they're just doing amazing, and we're just happy with the progress of these guys. As a whole, these pups came out larger than average, which surprised us. Miss Yellow, she came out on the small side, and she decided to hold off on nursing longer than some of the other ones. So she continues to be a little bit smaller than the other ones. The other ones have really taken off. Miss Yellow here, I'll just show her to you. She's still doing good. She has figured out the nursing routine, and she is growing well with a good pace, a good growth rate at this point. But she did decide to hold off for the first few hours. We do like to see pups take off and grow, or take off and nurse right off the bat. But she decided to hold off for a little bit. But she's figured it out now. She knows how to work her way through the crowd and hang on tight when these bigger pups around her decide to move into the lunch counter and try to stake their claim. So we're happy with her progress with figuring that out. And as you can see, has good vitality, good vigor and energy, and she knows how to fill up that little tummy of hers with milk. So I apologize, we've got the heater fan going. You may hear that kick on and some noise, background noise with that. So, but we will continue with the introductions of these pups. We've got our notes on them, and I will just kind of go through the list here. So in no particular order, with the exception of girls, ladies first, we will introduce these pups to you. We'll show you a little bit more about them and tell you their weight. So we've had a lot going on this week with the other pups that we have, and I did not get these pups weighed. That's one of my tasks for this process, is weigh the pups and do some things that way. I did not get the pups weighed right after birth. So the weights we have are current as of today. And from my observations, and I check on, we kind of all take turns checking on the pups, but I check on them pretty regularly. And from my observations, I would say their proportions right now are comparable to their proportions at birth. So the differences that they're showing now in their sizes are pretty close to what their differences were at birth as well. So Miss Pink here, as of today, she is 1.12 pounds, and look at her just snoozing away. She had a tummy full of milk and decided to roll off to the side and go to sleep. So I may put the camera down, but I may move it around a little bit. Sometimes I put the camera down. Tonight I'm gonna see how I do one-handing these pups and moving them around. But Miss Pink here, she has an ever so slight marking. It's very slight underneath her collar on her neck. She has a more defined and pronounced kind of stripe mark on her chest, and she has a little bit of some marked hairs down in her groin area. If you can see that, we'll see if I can adjust her there. And then her toes, she has these pink princess Cinderella slippers on her toes. So she has the most heavily marked feet in the litter, so those are kind of fun to see. She's got slippered feet for this pretty and pink princess, and just as adorable as they come. So that is Miss Pink, and next we will move on to Miss Yellow. She's over here by my foot, and Miss Yellow, as of today, is 0.83 pounds, so not anywhere close to her siblings, but she is just doing great. For this age, she's actually comparable to some of the other pups, so she's not necessarily abnormally small, but for this litter, she's quite a bit smaller than her litter mates. As far as marking goes, she's the least marked out of all the pups. She has a clear chest, no markings there. Her toes are clear, back left, back right, which is our most commonly marked feet. Nothing on her front paws. And just an ever so, can you hold still, Mr. Red, and let your sister snuggle in for a minute? An ever so slightly marked groin area. So other than that, she's basically a solid pup. So Miss Yellow, being the smallest, is also the solid one. So very pretty and beautiful little pup there. Very proud of her. Next we're moving on to Miss Teal, and she is busy helping herself at the cafeteria over here, and judging by her size, she makes a visit to the cafeteria pretty frequently. She is 1.21 pounds. She was big at birth and continues to hold that trajectory. Has good vitality and energy. As you can see, she was just nursing. she feels picked on that I pulled her away. She's probably going to protest that, but we will let her protest. Can you hold still for a minute, Missy? She has a very slight marking on her chest and kind of a dot look to it. It's very small, probably about the size of smaller than my pinky fingernail. She's slightly marked down in her groin area, very slight. Her toes, her back left toe is slightly frosted. You can see that in the light here. And we're not seeing anything on the back right toes. So that is Miss Teal. She is queen of the castle when it comes to size out of her sisters. So that wraps up the girls. We've got Miss Yellow. I'm going to try to see if I can get them laying side by side. So you can see their coat colors are very, very close. I'm hard pressed to find one that is significantly darker or lighter than the other ones. If I hold this camera at a different angle, you're going to see a different color to their coats. And so, depending on the angle, with the light shimmering off their glossy puppy coats, you might get a different look of their coats than I do. But from what I'm seeing, these guys are so dang close in coat color. It would be hard to rank them lightest to darkest. So, not hard at all to rank them largest to smallest. Maybe I'll do that. Look at these guys. So, we've got Miss Teal here, Miss Pink, Miss Yellow. So, ranked largest to smallest right there. So that's the girls, and loving their progress. Next, we're gonna shuffle these guys maybe off to the side a little bit and do the boys. So Mr. Blue, he is over here at the cafeteria getting his milkshake. Sorry, I'm gonna pull you away, Mr. Blue. Oh, look at that tongue. Did you see that going? These guys know how to nurse. I tell you what, they get that tongue on there and know how to suction cup, and they can really latch on. So, Mr. Blue here, as of today, he's 1.27 pounds. And out of the boys, he's tied for first on size. Blue and red, these two right here, when I weighed them, are basically exactly the same size. I'm just going to put them, since they're right here, they're pretty dang close in size and pretty dang close in color as well. So 1.27 pounds, and so he has slight marking on his chest, kind of a stripe, a little bit elongated look to it. He's clear on his neck, and Mr. Blue has slight few light colored hairs down on his groin area. And what we're seeing on his paws, he is clear on his paws. So besides his stripe on his chest, he is clear, other than his very slight marking on his groin. So that is Mr. Blue. Mr. Red here, we've got Mr. Red at 1.27 pounds, and he's got a little goop on his eye. Their eyes are sealed, and so every once in a while we'll get a puppy's eyes that unseal a little bit just in the corners. You get a little bit of a goop. No concern there though. We've had that before. Does not affect him. But Mr. Red here, he has small marking on his chest. It's more of a patch than a stripe. Well, depends on how I hold his skin. If I hold him like that, it's more of a round patch on his chest. And then his toes, he's got kind of a heavily marked back left toe. You can see some dark spots right by his toenail. That's actually a little bit of afterbirth drying still taking place there. So these pups, they come out pretty goopy. Mom does a pretty good job cleaning them up. He's still got a little bit of afterbirth on his paws. So his back left foot is heavily marked. His back right foot is basically kind of frosted, not near as heavily marked. And I think I showed you he's got more of a marked groin area. So that is Mr. Red. And next we're going to go for Mr. Brown. He's hiding over here under my leg, and we'll show you him. So out of the boys, Mr. Brown is bringing up the caboose as far as size goes. He's 1.1 pounds and probably the darker of the group. If I bring Mr. Orange over here and lay him next to Mr. Red, Red's just a tad lighter. Mr. Brown is a full shade darker than his siblings. So red and blue are pretty close in color, a little bit lighter than orange, and then brown is the darkest out of all these pups. So orange is in the middle, brown's the darkest, and then blue and red are the lighter of the boys. They're not really blonde colored. All the pups on their side and on their tummy are lighter, but kind of look at their back. All the pups are pretty middle of the road on the lighter end of the spectrum, but brown's definitely got the darker side of things on the spectrum of colors. So 1.1 pounds, and then as far as his markings go, he has a very, very light marking on his neck. You can see that there under his collar area, and then his chest is clear. If I hold him at the right light, there may be just a handful of little hairs right there on his chest, if you can see that. And then he's got some markings on his groin area, a few light hairs there, and then his toes seem to be solid. So other than that very light chest marking and neck marking, he is pretty well a solid pup and quite dark. So that is Mr. Brown. And last but not least, we've got Mr. Orange. Can you hear Blue singing us a story? He's off the wrong side of the nipple. You're in the wrong spot. You're off to the wrong side. Let's bring you over here where you can get something. Is that why you're singing us a story? You're off to the wrong side. So, Brooke's milk came in early, and she didn't really start into mastitis, but she does have some lumps going on. So we're happy that it didn't turn into mastitis. We're happy that her milk was right there, right ready for the pups. But early milk sometimes presents some complications when pups don't drain the glands all the way. This is going to take about another week to 10 days for them to get through some of those glands that are still full there. So anyways, back to Mr. Orange. Had to get Mr. Blue going in the right spot. He was singing the blues when he couldn't get any milk out of that one. Mr. Orange, I'm gonna pull you away. Sorry, you were ready to eat, I know. So Mr. Orange here, he has a very slight, probably the smallest chest marking out of all of them. And it's very, very slight. Very slight. And then he's got a very slight groin marking, but his back toes are more heavily marked. So we've got his back right toe that's got some frosted toes, and his back left is very slight right there. Did I say heavily marked? His toes are not heavily marked if I said that. Just his back right toe is slightly marked, and then maybe just very slight spots on his back left. So that's the crew here, all 7 here. We've got shouldn't call them the 7 dwarfs, but I guess we could call them the 7 dwarfs right now, huh? They're kind of small right now, but they are actually very good sized pups. Small right now, but they will grow fast. So we've got this crew here, and Brooke is doing just great taking care of them. She loves her pups, is attentive, and takes great care of them. Keeps them clean and keeps them warm, keeps them snuggled in, helps her pups find her if they kind of get off to the side and they get going in circles when they can't find mama. And these pups rely heavily on their noses to find mom. They use the tactile sensation in their nose as well as their scent abilities with their nose to figure out where mama is. And sometimes they get off far enough away they can't get either one of those to give them a clue, and mama has to pull them in, and Brooke does an amazing job with that. So this is a long video, but we're very pleased to share these pups with you and introduce them, and we're excited to let you watch them grow. We love doing these videos. We feel like doing them from the start really helps people feel connected with their pups from the very beginning, so when it's time to take the pup home, they're already familiar with their pup and in love with their pup and ready to take good care of them during those somewhat difficult times as the terrible twos of puppyhood come along and they turn into rascals and turn into raptors with their teeth and everything else. Some of those puppy times can be challenging, so it's nice to enjoy some of these other puppy times that are very rewarding as well, and we're excited to be a part of that with you and share these videos with you and let you see them from the beginning. So until next time, we hope you enjoy this video. Talk to you later.